In today's episode, we're following Jason Mercier in an Alpha 8 high roller tournament with a buy-in of $100,000. The blinds are $3,000 and $6,000, and the ante is $1,000. There are only 4 players left, and Mercier is the big blind. Cates limps and the rest of the players fold. There isn't any purpose for Mercier to raise with 5 high, so he checks. On the flop, Mercier is a two-way straight draw, which most of the time is a well-disguised hand. He checks, and Cates surprisingly checks behind. If Cates has a big hand, he'll probably raise pre-flop. Sometimes players like to limp raise with big hands, so Cates might hold aces, and this is why he checks behind on this dry board. But the chances for that are pretty low because with 4 players left in the tournament, it's not a good idea to take risks and lose everything by trying to trap pre-flop. So after Cates checks, Mercier can assume that Cates might hold a hand like Queen 10 or Jack 10. Basically a hand that he can raise with pre-flop but can't call a re-raise. This is why Cates limped pre-flop and checked on the flop, because he didn't want to get raised. On the turn, a Jack of Spades shows up. Now Mercier can assume this card helped Cates in some way, because if he has a hand that contains a Jack, or the Jack helps him to hit a straight, he might bet on the hand. Mercier checks and Cates bets $7,000 on a $19,000 pot. At this point, Mercier can't call with 5 high just to hit a straight, because if he misses and leads out, he might get called by Cates. So in this case, the better option is to fold or raise, trying to represent a big hand. Mercier raises, but Cates calls. Now Mercier can assume that Cates has a Jack, because he wouldn't call on a gut shot. Cates might also have a flush draw. On the river, a Queen of Diamonds shows up. Now Mercier can assume that Cates can only call if the Queen helped him. Even if Cates has a Jack, it would be really hard to call with 2 overs to the Jack, especially when Mercier, as the big blind, with no raise pre-flop, can have anything in his hand. Mercier bets $31,000 and Cates folded with the best hand.